Hello! Welcome to the adventures of Valheim. And today I'm gonna be spending 100 days in Valheim. And unlike other 100 days, this isn't just regular 100 days challenge. This is 100 days in Valheim without killing Eikthyr. Will I live or will I die? Join in for my adventure and see how I will fare in this cruel and cold Viking world. Now then, this is a new series that I've been making for a very long time, and these are all the bosses that I will be beating for each 100 days, including the Seeker Queen that was introduced in Mistlands update. Now, the challenge itself is self-explanatory. Spend 100 days without killing bosses until the last days, which I get into the rules, and gather as much resources as possible and available for everybody you can get as possibly. This means that you are limited to just having resources without killing the bosses and using just game mechanics. However, there's usually two rules for this challenge that I'll be talking about, and I'll go for the first rule. Rule number 1. Don't beat the boss until last few days before day 100. This means that you need to wait for fighting the boss for a very long time. I highly advise fighting the easy ones in day 99 and longer ones at max day 95. However, doing it earlier will fail the challenge, so be aware of that. And rule number 2, no cheating, play legit. What this means is that you need to play according with the game intention and not using any exploits or cheat codes. Things like stab breaker is allowed to do, but things like no clipping at crypt isn't allowed, or using any form of cheats. What this means that you need to use the game sense, and this will work wonderfully at a game through. Now, with these two rules out of the picture, let's get into it, shall we? Firstly, I'm gonna be creating a new character, and I'm gonna be naming it Darklight. And up I go! Alright. Now, firstly, I'm gonna be checking where Eikthyr is. Then I'm gonna be collecting some woods and resources. Afterwards, I'm gonna be hunting those boars and get some leather and meat. And finally, I was building my camp so that I can skip my first night, and I built myself a bed. But not before someone disturbed me. Get out of there! Afterwards, I was going to sleep for the next day. Day 2, I was reorganizing the chest and putting some stuff in there. At first, I was gathering some wood from an abandoned camp, until I realized that, hey, I could settle my new camp in there, so I did. I flattened the lands, and then I rebuilt my crafting bench in there. I rebuilt my campfire, and afterwards I was going to sleep. However, you would not believe what's gonna happen for the next day. Day 3 happened, and when I was rebuilding my chest, I got invaded by animals. And oh boy, was it a fight. This has got to be the quickest invasion I've ever seen. And this comes from meadows animals of all things. After a few minutes, the invasion was gone. But hey, at least I get some free food. Afterwards, I was collecting some chests to move it to my base. I built some roof so that it doesn't fall on fire. Meantime, I was collecting some materials. And I rebuilt some floors for my base. Day 4, I was gathering some materials again from abandoned houses. After that, I was hunting deer and got some new materials. And also killing this little grayling brat. Now, I was wandering around and figuring out why hasn't there been a large giant black forest, only to be disappointed how small it was. But hey, at least I get some skeleton loot, a chest full of items, and I was shooting this bird, only to notice that I was being hunted down by those smurfs from the black forest. On their own, they're not so bad, but on groups they're very tough. Especially for early game. I managed to kill one of them, but they decided to gang up on me, so I decided to take a tactical retreat and use my bow instead. I managed to kill 2 of them with my bow, and the last one I decided to parry like a pro. Overall, the encounter wasn't so bad. And I decided to rebuild a little bit for my house for the next day. Day 5, I chopped some trees, hunted some boars and explored a little bit. I decided to build a tanning rack for my workbench, but I didn't have any flint, so I decided to collect some flint from the shores. I decided to hunt this boar, only to realize that I scared these 2 deer that I could have easily got the deer rugs. Man, that was a wasted opportunity. Now I finally got myself the deer rug, and I repaired some of my equipment. However, I did not realize one simple problem. I still need more flint for my flint axe. Finally, I got enough flint to upgrade my flint axe, and I also decided to upgrade my hoe and my hammer to max. I rebuilt a little bit of the house. I rebuilt a few of my cooking station, only to hear that a grayling is molesting my beehives. Now stop touching my bees, you sick yellow fuck. After wandering around, I found the second Blackswoods, which had like a skeleton ruin and a Grey Dwarf ruin. And I also come across a giant smurf. Luckily for me, the Grey Dwarfs are attacking these skeletons. Unluckily for me, I got ambushed by Grey Dwarfs and a giant smurf. I could manage to self-defense, but I got stopped by the tree, and this led to my first death. Day 7, I decided to take my stuff, and I brought this troll that killed me. Now the nice thing about troll is that it can chop this tree, which requires a copper axe. Which is a nice thing, except I didn't just die once, but twice. Now, this troll chopped every single last of those trees, which is a nice thing, and after that I ran away for the next day, which is day 8, and I finally killed this troll. And get some of those leather so that I can craft some of this troll armor. I finish off last of my build materials for the roof, and my house is finally done. Day 9. I decided to get some core wood, and I also collected this stuff until the troll decided to chase me. At first I wanted to kill it, but I got a better idea. Use it to mine copper, just like it mined oak tree. And it works fine. And I also use it for cutting oak trees. Day 10. I decided to collect all of its remains, and I decided to venture out into the troll caves nearby. And man, well, I was getting ahead, but I wasn't brave enough to face it, so I decided to take a tactical retreat and fight another day. I ventured out south into the woods and found 2 skeletons in there, one of which is a 1-star. Now, fighting them early on isn't a good idea since they can hit very hard. I finished out the 1-star skeleton and marked this place for my future coming. I returned back to kill the troll, and after few shots a little bit returning, I returned a little bit back and got some of those troll letters and few coins. I collected a few of those letters, and I also got myself a ruby. It was nighttime and I found another dungeon. I marked this place until a shaman decided to poison me. I decided to go back, but I died as a result. Day 11. I was being attacked by this troll and it decided to stomp it, but I also got some tin ore. Afterwards, I decided to explore the dungeon. I also got myself a new weapon named the Stagbreaker, which was really good against those skeletons. I also broke the skeleton spawner because later on you get a lot of bones. So anyways, after clearing this up, I collected a few circling cores, which was really nice. I left this dungeon and I began to travel to the next dungeon, which has like a 1-star skeleton. And man, it was really nice. Oh yeah, and this was probably the most interesting dungeon. It has like a skull and like 4 circling cores, which was kinda rare to see. Anyways, I built myself a portal and I named it Blackwood. Day 13. I decided to build the charcoal kiln, which I could smelt some of those wood to get some coal. Afterwards I decided to go back to the Blackwoods, and I want this troll to mine this copper deposit. But I'm being attacked by greylings and grey dwarf. I waited for the grey dwarf to attack. I didn't manage to kill it, but the smurf hit me and killed me. I also died again, except from fall damage. Afterwards the troll did its job mining all those coppers that I have. And oh boy. Afterwards I decided to kill it and it got its reward. I smelted some copper ore, and since it was soon becoming nighttime, I decided to skip the night. The nice thing about dreaming is that all the copper would smelt instantly. I returned back and got myself those smelted copper ores. It also happened in day 16, so I also got myself some tin. And I broke so that I could build the charcoal kiln. Now, I crafted myself the bronze pickaxe, which means I don't have to kill the first boss. And I also got myself the butcher knife. Afterwards I was building my cart and getting some tin for my nearby base. Yep. keep going. Right. And I'll just little bit place it right there. Hold up a second. Right, there we go. And there's my fix. Day 18 to 22, I was mining a little bit of tin, marked some of those copper veins or copper places. Then I dig myself a pretty big hole for the copper with my bronze pickaxe. And finally, for the last copper, I collected a little bit of it and I placed it on my chest. Now, right now I took some copper and I just run all the way to my base, or the fortress that skeleton used to be, and place it right into the cart. Right, I returned home. So afterwards, while I was basically building a smelter, I was being attacked by Eikthyr creatures again. But it wasn't really so bad for the extra food. I built myself a cauldron so that I could get myself some advanced food, which comes in handy later on. I crafted myself some pork jerky. On day 23, I decided to build an adze for my crafting station to level 4, and afterwards I built few of the nails so I can build myself a boat. Day 24 to 27, I was first building a roof for upstairs, then I was chopping wood and more wood, and after that I was placing chests, and later on I was chopping more wood. Day 28. I decided to travel north, or northwest, which is a location where I found the mountains, and he also had a black forest, which could be handy later. Afterwards, I was parking in a nearby cave where there's a troll, and I was exploring a little bit to get some circling cores to the burial chambers. I did find some circling cores and a boss locator, and afterwards I was placing my portal there and naming it. Day 29. I decided to return to the burial chamber to get the more loot, and I found a 1-star skeleton, though I did manage to kill it, and some more loot. I also found another tower with grey dwarfs and such, and afterwards I also found another cave with a troll this time, and I decided to shoot it on its head. Day 30. I decided to try and kill this troll, which wasn't easy, especially since caves are pretty claustrophobic. However, I kinda died not once but twice to get the loot. Then I decided to smelt some tin, and I also found a grey dwarf spawn nearby, and I decided to destroy it because what's even the point to get a farm for it? Now, there was also another cave that I decided to explore, which was just as claustrophobic. Well, I was kinda smart with it, but I ran out of ammo and I decided to go very close at it and finish him off. Day 31. I found another Grey Dwarf spawner and destroyed it too, until I triggered this nearby troll. However, I took care of it. Afterwards, I traveled to the other side and I found another burial chamber so that I could explore later. I crafted a few of my wooden arrows and smelt a certain coal, and I came back and explored the burial chamber. I also found a rare ghost enemy in those burial chambers. After I returned out, it was already getting nighttime. I explored a little bit until I found a third burial chamber, and this time I also found a very rare-like structure there. Day 32. I decided to return to my base, and I also built myself a cultivator to make a future farm. And I also mined a little bit for my staircase so I can get up instead of jumping. Afterwards, I decided to build a big dent, and I lowered the ground a little bit, mined some stones for extra room, build a roof, and yeah, that's about it. Day 33. I decided to explore to find myself a boar, and I alerted it so it can come to my base, and I trap this boar and I throw strawberries to it so I can tame it. And just when I was about to leave, this happened. Fuck! Okay, back to the game. And I was searching for the 2-star boar, but before that I was chopping this oak tree so I can get the oak sapling, just for later. Now, I was murdering this boar until I found this 2-star boar, and I was just sneaking around, but before that I was murdering his friends before I aggro it, and it started chasing me all the back to the base. Now, I managed to bring it all to the base and build some fences, and then I started throwing strawberries and mushrooms and left them alone so they can get tamed. Now, my next goal is to build a carrot farm, and first up I leveled up the ground, then I made a stake wall, then afterwards I cultivated the ground, and finally I placed some carrots so I can get some carrot seeds later. And also I moved my beehives so that mobs don't kill it. Now, day 35 to 37, I decided to chop some wood. Then I was killing this one tiny pig and its mother because they're not 2 stars. And then afterwards I chopped more trees. And afterwards, towards day 38, I decided to build myself the portal room, and also lowering the ground. Now, this piggy right here has always been at this wall. I decided to first feed it so that it's hungry. I opened the door a little bit. It decided to run away at this wall. I decided to block it until it started to run away, and I decided to chase it. And I would have chased it until I forgot, oh yeah, my second 2-star piggy would have escaped too, so I closed the door. The sad thing is I couldn't chase it. Oh well, at least I could get this random boar so that they can both breed. Now, back to the portal building. Now, I built myself some floors, and then to day 38 to 39 I built myself a staircase. I placed some logs in there. I also built myself for upper floor. Day 39 it started to rain. I also built myself more carrot seeds, and I built myself a roof. Now I placed some logs, then I built my last of those roofs until I don't have any wood left. I do need to get some more. Now I moved my portals right there so I can place more portals later. I managed to name my first one, which succeed, but the second one for some reason doesn't work, so I need to return to the place. Day 40. I built myself a route so I can move to the other side of the island. And don't worry, I named my portal. Then afterwards I located a copper deposit so I can mine it later. And afterwards I moved a little bit north so I found myself another skeleton crypt. Then nearby it I found a troll cave, which I was a little bit sneaking until this great wolf attacked me, though I did finish it off. Afterwards I moved it back to the base until I found a Draugr village. I located nearby until those Draugrs started slowly sneaking up on me, but I did manage to escape. Day 41. I placed a new portal, which is nearby the Draugr village. I came to the camp, sniped that one Draugr, and got myself some new loot, so I can get later on for sausages. Afterwards, there was this one Draugr trying to melee me, but the nice thing about it is I can block this if I fully upgrade my wooden shield. After clearing up almost the entire village, I placed myself this portal. Day 42. I managed to get myself a decently big farm, and afterwards I was collecting some of those carrot seeds so I could place some new ones. Meanwhile, at the Draugr village, I managed to build myself a trench so the Draugrs wouldn't escape. And finally, I was collecting some wood from abandoned houses so I could get some free wood without chopping trees. Afterwards, I was trying to build a little bit nearby Draugr village until its archer almost killed me, though I managed to escape. Meanwhile, at night, I managed to kill few Draugrs and drop one of them and the second one so I can build freely. Day 43. I managed to cook myself some food, then afterwards I was killing those unworthy 0-star boars. Meanwhile, I was exploring this crypt that I found previously, and I managed to find a 2-star skeleton and a ghost. And this is the same crypt where I also found a very rare enemy, the Ratchet Remnant, though my stack breaker managed to give it a knockback. I managed to kill it. Then afterwards I was taking a little bit rest nearby a troll cave so I can kill this troll and take its loot. And finally I was building myself the swamp portal, which will be my next destination, which is day 44. I managed to find a swamp, which is kinda disappointingly small, I have to say. Though I explored a little bit until I found a second Draugr village, which I also located it. After when it became a night time, I placed myself a swamp portal so I can go back. Though I did return a little bit to fight this raid at night time. Though I was expecting a loser or something. Though I did kill it and get myself my first chain, which is a nice thing. Day 45. I managed to chop down this ancient wood so I can get those ancient barks. Afterwards I was attacking those oozers until a 1-star drugger almost killed me, so I was just running away from it. Then my carrots started to grow up from my base, so I collected all of them and placed more carrot seeds. And finally I was making myself stacks of carrot soup so I can get some stamina later on. Now, back to the swamp. I was sniping this drugger with my bow, and I almost missed all my shots. However, the drugger didn't seem to mind me, so I decided to chop those woods. Meanwhile at night, I was sniping this wraith, though this one skeleton also tried to shoot me, and the wraith got close to me, so I a little bit escaped. Now, after fighting against the wraith, I got low health, and I decided to be a little bit too greedy, and I got way too close with the leech, and I died from poisoning. Meanwhile, picking up, I got chased by the druggers, and there's just one funny thing about what I didn't notice. You'll see.
Oh, what?
I located near my burial chamber and left the chamber for the next day, which is day 46, which I found a oozer, which I was trying to kill to get the iron medal or iron scraps, but instead I get those blobs and oozes, which was disappointing. Meanwhile, I was also building myself a tiny cabin of sorts, so I can basically snipe at safety. I placed myself the chest to organize it, and I also placed myself the roof, and it looks kinda ugly, I'm not gonna lie. Meanwhile at night I was checking the entire burial chamber, and I found a decent amount of circling cores, which I can get very handy later, and I collected all of them until it became day 47. Now, day 47 I was putting myself some coal until I get attacked by the Eikthyr creatures. Meanwhile at the swamp I was cutting all the trees so I can get all the ancient wood, since it was kinda small. And there was also a 2-star drugger at my base, and I was trying to snipe it. It's really dangerous since it can one-shot me if I'm not careful. Though at least this 2-star Grey Dwarf helped me, and this small one. So I finish him off. Now, at night time, I found a 2-star leech which I was trying to kill so that I could get more of those blood bags, which I really do need not only for potions but also for later on blood pudding, which can get really handy. This Grey Dwarf was harassing me, but I didn't care. Now, I also got another oozer, and I tried to hide in a rock so that it doesn't poison me, though I got again some disappointing loot. Meanwhile, there's a third-like oozer, which I managed to kill, but I still didn't get any iron scraps. And then I was also trying to shoot this wraith. Now, he wasn't bad on his own, but then came a second wraith, which I decided to just run away. Though at day 48, I managed to separate one of them. I managed to kill one of them, though I don't know what happened to the second one. Though I did get the chains. Now, I picked some trees again. I also mined some gawk, so I do need it later on for the Draugr Fang. Then at the base I was picking up some carrot seeds, and placed a chest for it. Meanwhile at night, I was trying to attack this gooser, until pretty much there was way too many enemies. And guess what? I wasn't just not only being attacked by a oozer, but I also got attacked by the Wraith. And also I got also sniped by a 2-star Draugr, which was kind of a clusterfuck, and I also died from it. Though, I did get my loot back, but I still didn't get that fucking scrap. Fucking damn it. But hey, at least I was handling this 2-star Draugr with ranged attacks. Day 49. I was chopping this ancient tree until I accidentally killed that leech. Then I took all my items and brought it to my base, though I didn't have room for the ancient bark. I built a little bit of roof for my portal room, since I didn't like the rain, but it was sometimes very annoying to build. Sometimes you really can't tell the physics. Now, day 15. I got basically ambushed by a bunch of grey dwarves, though I decided to brought it to the swamp and see who wins. Though this one Draugr got killed by it, and the other one got gangbanged just as much. Though, I also noticed something in the water, and that was the tree monsters, the abominations. I decided to shoot it, because I wanted to get its loot. And at first I was trying to block it or dodge it, but it hit very fucking hard. So I just ran away. I decided my second strategy would be to place campfire. It got pretty well until it started to fucking rain, which kinda stinks. And to add insult to injury, I also got ambushed by Eiktyr's allies again, which not only alerted the creatures but also alerted the drugs, which also killed me. Meanwhile, after that I place a campfire at the abomination and finish him for good. And I got a little bit root sets and such. And I also collected a little bit of remains, because I wasn't losing any resources. I also got attacked by Wraith and 2 Draugrs, until I managed to kill one of the Wraiths and finish off the 2 Draugrs at day 51 with my stag breaker. Now then, since it's Christmas, I placed myself the Christmas tree nearby, and afterwards I pick up my carrots from my farm and also meat. And then I decided to decorate my house so that I can get my rest level higher, and also place the banner and such. Now then, day 52, I crafted myself some frost resistance potion and chop all those birch tree. That's about it really. Now, day 53. I was sailing through the ocean so I can basically put a portal towards the Elder. Though when I arrived, I only found a burial chamber. And that's because Mistland got updated. Yeah, thanks Mistlands. Though this burial chamber only has one Surtling core, and that's really it. Day 54. I placed myself portal so I can go back to my own base, and I decided to travel to the same location, and this time the Elder spawned right up north, which I wasn't gonna try. So I decided to just wander around my war island to see if I could find the Elder. And at first I decided to watch the burial chamber so I can see the seagulls, but I was kinda disappointed since there was nothing in there. And at day 55 I finally located the Elder spawn, which was basically in my island. I placed myself the portal so I can return, and I pretty much returned. And I also got myself those frost resistance mid, place all my items at the journey, and finally I basically put some carrot seeds. Day 56. I decided to wander around the second burial chamber, which I also find the second rancid remnant. And I also got myself those extra circling loot and extra money. And then afterwards I was trying to wander around the entire island to find a merchant, though it's not in this island. Though my next day, at day 57, I wander around the second Blackwood, and this one is very interesting. At first I only found like one burial chamber, but then I found another one, and then another one. And this island has like so many burial chambers. Though I also located a swamp nearby, which I am gonna place a base. Then on day 58 I also found finally another burial chamber, which I found total of 11 or 12. Now I was also reorganizing my portals a little bit in their orders, and I also handle my carrot seeds and such. And also look at this, I'm throwing my carrots so all my piggies are going at the same time, which is pretty cute. And then finally I decided to place a portal there because I'll need it later. Day 59. I sailed to the east to find another Blackwood, and I was wandering around a little bit until I found a ruin and also a Grey Dwarf brute for some reason. I was also running around the mountain, and around it was a swamp. Though at nighttime I was traveling a little bit east until I found this marking, which means that Halder is nearby. And then afterwards I placed my set of working bench and a portal and also a campfire, so Grey Dwarfs don't attack it. Day 60. I brought from Halder Meningyor, so it makes carrying around items much easier, and also a fishing rod because mistlands. And I also placed myself those slugs so that the bat event doesn't fly on my pig farm. And then I made myself a mid-base medium healing because I need it for boss fights. And I also cooked myself some deer stew. Now, deer stew isn't really that good, but since I got so much blueberries and carrots and deer meat, I do need it later on. And then afterwards I was going to sleep for day 61. Day 61. I fly my ground so that I can place myself those smelters, which I will regret later on. Then afterwards I basically came off from Halder to this boat base so that I can bring my boat, all the metals, towards my base. Though I need to be careful because there was a sea serpent, which I'm not prepared right now. Then afterwards I noticed a blue lizard like the next, which I decided to just later on hunt it down. I thought it was just a 2-star variant, but it was instead just 1. Though it doesn't matter since I killed it. Day 62. I arrived through this portal until some intruders are trying to destroy it. Though I did manage to finish them off for good. And also I decided to use my stall breaker since I'm trying to find iron underneath the ground, which wasn't easy since sometimes there could be ancient trees. Though I also managed to find the crypt, which I marked the location. Afterwards I tried to shoot this run pile, which I managed to kill one of the draugrs until it decided to just spawn out Draugr Elite 2-star. which decided to just chase me and I just run away. Day 63. Now, I did kind of disturb this abomination, so I decided to just shoot it with my fire arrows. Though, even before I managed to do that, a Draugr just jump scare out of me. I did try to handle the Draugr, but the abomination caught me and tried to chase me, so I ran to my base. I crafted more fire arrows because I got like very few arrows left. And then when I arrived, the abomination took some fire damage. And I also used my terrain to my advantage. And I did manage to kill it so that I could get myself the root mask. Now, I also have like a little bit archery competition with this 2-star Draugr. And I finally managed to finish off the rotten piles, though this 1-star Draugr tried to kill me. Now, the second rotten pile, I tried to use the stag breaker, but I was getting overrun, so I ran away. Though, I did finally manage to beat the evil bones and finish off the 2 1-star skellies. And I tried to see the loot and I got disappointed, no iron. Though, I did make myself a forge and got myself a level 4 crafting forge station. Day 64. I used my stag breaker and I did manage to find like one maybe scrap pile, but I'm not sure if it's the ancient tree or such. And I also got another fight with an abomination, but this time I used campfires to kill it. And day 65, I found like a swamp hut, but I never used anything. I also used stag breaker and still found nothing. And then I managed to find the same Draugr elite that chased me down. I tried to solo it, but I got so greedy that I got myself killed. And day 63, I tried to finish off my nemesis off, but I still getting chasing away like a little bitch. Though the troll right here helped me a lot, and he finished him for good. He was a nice friend for me. And now then, I destroyed all of my smelters and tried to return to my boat until I realized something. My boat got absolutely destroyed, so I need to get a new one. And I wasted all my bronze nails for that. And then afterwards I traveled to all the burial chambers until day 67 to 68 when I got the last loot for it. Now, I did get so much gold, so much of those yellow mushrooms, and also got myself so many of those circling cores. And I crafted myself some minor stamina, because I could need it later on. Then I traveled with my boat towards the second swamp that I found. Though I did also manage to find like this turtle with these key ribs, which I decided to mine because I could need it for harpoon and hunting the sea serpent. Though I barely managed to like get alive to the boat because I almost drowned. Though the sad thing about it is it was night time and I arrived to the swamp, which was quite possibly the worst thing I could do. I built myself the crafting station and I absolutely got chased by millions of enemies, even by a 2-star Draugr. I did manage to build myself a portal before and naming it before I died. Now, day 69. I came back to the portal that I renamed and I was hoping that I could get my loot back and monsters were gone, except I died instantly and Draugr destroyed my portal. Though I did came from other way around from Haldur, which was a nice thing. Though there was like billions of enemies chasing me. I could have gotten my loot back, but I instead got my portal stuff. And the lucky part is, I was in a black forest. I renamed my portal so I could get my loot later on back. And once I ran back, I got all my stuff back and re-equipped the items. Then there was this one tree monster tried to fuck my boat. I tried to shoot this fucker until another billions of enemies chased me. Though, once I tried to rebuild it, the enemies keep like coming. And then there was this one instance when I got shot by a Draugr archer and they got poisoned by the leech and I died again. Though this time I still got my equipment back much easier than before. And then I decided to rebuild the entire hut again so that monsters don't destroy it. Day 70. I placed my portal, renamed it, and I built myself roof so there are no like ghosts flying towards my portal and destroying it. And then afterwards I explored this ruin or room thing, read it a little bit and tried to destroy all the lanterns so I hope I get 3 iron, but I did get none. Then there was this abomination fight which I was wasting all my fire arrows so I can kill it. And then afterwards I found those turnip seeds which I could finally get myself the level 2 cauldron so that I can make those sausages. And day 71 I replanted them. Now then, I was harassing this tree monster until this skeleton decided to shoot me. Then I noticed a Draugr and I also tried to shoot it but I didn't know it was a 1 star. Now, I still got a bit greedy with it. I did kill the skeleton, but I got killed by the Draugr because I got stuck in the tree trunk. Afterwards, I was found an oozer during the night and I tried to kill it. First I shoot it with fire arrows and then I smack it. Though a wraith came here and tried to literally kill me. And there was like so many enemies chasing me, so I decided to go back to the base and get some sleep for the next day. Day 72. I found this like castle with a hut, or a tower with a hut, and there was a wraith in it. I shot the wraith and I killed the skeleton and I also killed the wraith. Now, what was inside this building? Spoiler alert, there was like nothing in it. Though afterwards I killed this one abomination. And then on. Day 73 to 78. I was smacked with the stack breaker for finding the muddy scrap files to find the entire swamp. Until one night when I found those turnip seeds. I smacked the ground and I noticed something. It must be underneath. Then I decided to mine it and I finally found the muddy scrap files. Finally I got some iron. And meanwhile at the base I was building myself the spice rack so I can get myself those sausages, which come in really handy since I got so much entrails. Then returning to the swamp I mined all of the scrap that I could find, and then from the other side I also find more scraps of iron, so I mined it as well. I killed one abomination with the 2-star skeleton and another one at the forest. Though at another day I found again those muddy scrap files nearby, which I mined the rest. Day 79. I took all my iron, 14 in total, towards my base. Now this was a pretty slow journey, though I finally managed to land my boat like a badass. And then I decided to break my boat because I don't need it, because I'm gonna get a long boat. Then afterwards I smelted all my iron in a smelter, and I got to sleep for the next day, which is day 80. I picked up some strawberries, and then I finally got myself iron. Now I built myself the stone cutter because I was gonna make myself the heart, but I first built myself the grinding wheel so that I can get myself the forge level 5. Now then, all this iron that I used, I built a long ship, and that's because I needed iron the most for it, since I gotta get so much ores, which is gonna get very handy. Then I replaced my chest with a reinforced chest, so I placed all the meat food in there. And finally, I cut some trees, made the ground lower, and I built myself a turnip farm, which I cultivated and placed a chest for the next day. Day 81 to 82, I can place my campfires and put the heart instead, which I can make extra comfort and extra food with it, which is a nice thing. Afterwards I was destroying those birch tree, hired the ground, and I also destroyed a little bit terrain so it's sharp. Then afterwards I placed some stone walls and put some wooden floor, and this build is gonna get much more interesting later on, maybe for the next 100-day world. Day 83 to 89, I was sailing northwest towards the Black Forest base which I placed. Then afterwards I was taking all my stuff and put it right next to the copper veins. Meanwhile for this afterwards I was mining all the tin I could find and put it on my boat, and it almost got like half of the inventory slots. Though when that was done, I was mining of course for copper, and I got a lot of stones. And I mean, it's very handy to get so much stone since I can build these stone floors. Then I mined a very long time, and I actually got invaded in the middle of a black forest, which is strange. Though then afterwards I placed some smelters for the next day. Day 90. I took some turnip seeds, and afterwards I separated two sides of turnip. One is with the seeds and another is just regular. And then afterwards the leftover turnip I made turnip stew, which I have enough boar meat for. Then meanwhile at the Black Forest I got enough copper until I realized that it's not enough, so I do need to mine more. Luckily there was one nearby. Then I placed a portal nearby, and afterwards I put some coal so that when I arrive with my boat I could put all my copper with it. And also I placed some charcoal kin and smelted a lot of wood on both sides, which is faster. Day 91 and 92. I chopped this pine tree and I mined all the copper I could find. I wasn't making any form of those big holes, but that's because I was lazy. Day 93 to 98. I was sailing. I took all my ores and sailed right towards my base, which I melted all the copper and all the tin I could find. Then I put myself those wooden beams so that it separates the two sides, both the carrots and turnips. And afterwards I upgraded both my bronze axe and bronze pickaxe. And I also made a new weapon, the bronze agate, which I also upgraded it to max. Then afterwards I built certain stone walls there while the ores were melting. I cut trees that I could find. and I cooked my deer stew. Then I was building those floors, and afterwards when I was trying to build the floor, Eikthyr sent his rallies for the last time to face me, though I used my newly equipped weapon to test it and see how it works. After I got traded, I finished up the 2 floors. Now, even though I haven't finished up the structure, I will finish up for the next 100 days with just being at the Blackwood era or Bronze Age era, which I'll make a next video of it. Afterwards, I build myself a tank card and I place it where there's potions, which we'll get to the next and final day. At day 99, I took the pictures for my thumbnail before facing Eikthyr, and when I came to the altar, I offered my 2 deer trophies so I could finally face the boss. And this boss will be epic. Now I want to see the true power what it wields. Now, the Eikthyr did a good chunk of damage to this thing, and even though I chopped his health quickly, I felt that the fight was too quick, so I decided to finish up with a fist fight instead. And I wanna fight it epically. Come here, dear little fuck! Fight like a man! After I took my last punch, the beast fell down. I teabagged it like a pro gamer, and I took it all its valuable loot. Then I ran all the way towards the Stonehenge, where I came from. I offered my deer boss trophy, and I finally became superpowered. Before I took the drink, I glimpsed at all the memories I had during 100 days in Valheim. Watch it. After I took 2 more drinks, I headed towards the bed and slept. Thanks for watching and have a happy new year.
The kisses of the sun were sweet, I didn't blink, I let it in my eyes. Like an exotic drink, the radio playing songs that I have never heard, I don't know what to say. Oh, not another